Okay, I want to get into some information about Sebastian Fundora and he's what's going on at the moment. I don't know how new this news is, but I haven't heard it, and I've been keeping up to date with all the boxing stuff recently. So, but first, I want to have a look at a couple of clips prior to the Tim Zoo versus Sebastian Fundora fight. And Jim Lampley, his comments afterwards, after the fight, I found pretty interesting. What his thoughts were on the fight, considering he's like a pretty legendary commentator, and he has a lot of good insight into boxing. So let's listen.
Blow by blow guy there is, my man Jim Lampley. Jim got treated to another good fight. How the fight seemed to change on that cut. How much do you gauge that really changed the tempo of the fight and what was
changed everything? Yeah. I mean, the whole event, the whole evening with regard to those two fighters is about the cut.
Yeah, and that cut completely changed the fight. Like the difference to how Tim Tszyu was fighting compared to when he didn't have the cut, compared to when he did have the cut, there was just two different fighters. And I think there was a moment that he had to adjust to having that cut and having the blood pouring down his face and the vision blurred, which it took him a while, but I think he kind of adapted to it and started coming on stronger towards the back end of the fight. But that was 10 rounds with a cut. It wasn't the fact that the cut was bleeding so much, it was the fact that the blood was streaming into his eye, into his eyes, and he couldn't see. You could see him constantly trying to dodge punches and wipe the blood from his face. You can't fight like that. That's blurred vision. That was advantage Fundora with all the blood that was streaming into Tim Tszyu's eye. It was crazy. So much blood.
And I don't know if I've ever seen exactly that circumstance. The place where the cut takes place is the highest concentration of veins in the body.
It's crazy.
At the top of your skull, more blood comes to meet in a crossroads on the top of your skull than anywhere else in your body.
And you're seeing it as soon as he got cut. The footage, as soon as he put his head down, it was like a horror movie. It just splurted out. It was crazy. So much blood, like instantly.
So when he happened to cut him there with an elbow butt, he tapped into the central blood flow of Tszyu, and there was no way that blood was ever going to be stopped or even slowed down for a long time. And it's just a highly unusual circumstance. It's not fair. Life is unfair. That was not fair competition. That was unfair competition because one guy fouled the other with an elbow on the top of the head and cut him open in such a way that the blood flow was not going to be stopped.
If you had to gauge, Jim, how much of it was Fundora did what he did? He came on.
I wouldn't say it was a foul because I don't. Yeah, that's. Yeah, no, I don't think it's a foul because there's no way you could say that was an intentional elbow. Tszyu, unfortunately, leant in with his head right at the end of the round into his elbow. So, I don't know. I wouldn't say it was intentional, but everyone has their opinions.
Strong and won, and how much of it was the outcome was altered by the cut?
Outcome is altered. If the outcome is not altered by the cut, I don't think Fundora is ever in the position to win those rounds the way he did because Tszyu would have tactical command and mastery. He's a better boxer. And, I'm not going to downgrade Fundora. He did what he had to do under the circumstances. All credit.
And I think Fundora did... Yes, that's exactly right. I think Fundora did the right thing under the circumstances. Because I've seen Fundora box before using his reach. And most of the time the time that I did see him actually use his reach and distance and jab, he's reverted back to trying to fight right inside and then start taking blows and then getting dropped. So he Zoo, the first 2 rounds, was on top. He was dominating. And then as soon as that cut happened, it just completely changed the trajectory of the fight. Completely changed it. And it took him a while to try and adapt to blood pouring into his eyes. And he still sort of adapted to it, but it just, credit to Fundora, he was able to take advantage of that blood pouring into Zoo's eye and knowing that, hey, if I just stick on the outside and keep jabbing him with using my distance, then it's going to be harder for him to get inside because he can barely see it as it is. So it was more beneficial for him to actually use his jab and use his length.
I might have a fun night-long argument with a judge sometime about giving all those rounds to him. But at the end of the day, the fight was about the cut. It presented Sue with what became an insurmountable problem. And if the cut had been anywhere else on the body, it wouldn't have been the same thing. It was because it was right there on the top of the skull, which is where all the blood flow concentrates.
I believe you called the fight when Costa Tszyu lost to Vince Phillips.
I did.
Do you think his son will have similar success after this setback the way his father did? Or
there was nothing different about Costa after the Vince Phillips shot other than that he had a loss on his record. I don't think there'll be any...
I kind of think this is given... I know Zoo's going to be very disappointed with... Or Tim Zoo's going to be very disappointed with this loss. But I think people see him in a different light and see him more as a blood and guts warrior now for getting through that obstacle of not being able to see for 10 rounds. But I think he can easily come back from this because he fought pretty well with not being able to see, and that should give him some sort of confidence that, hey, if I can fight like that against a 6'6" guy and do pretty well, not win, but still do pretty well. Imagine if I can see. Imagine how far I can go. He was already a good fighter. He was already winning he's already a good fighter. He's already winning 2 rounds. But it was just unfortunate that he got that cut on top of the head and then the blood was streaming into his eyes and then he couldn't see. And then, yeah, obviously Fundora took advantage of that, as you do. And then that's it. He won it. So, yeah, it was very unfortunate. But I think Tszyu would definitely come back from this.
Nothing different about Tim Tszyu as the result of tonight, other than that he has a loss on his record.
Exactly.
So tonight he's just like his dad, except that his dad got hit with a clean, perfect, legitimate right-hand shot. Tim Tszyu got hit with an elbow on the top of the head. It's not a boxing move.
Any surprise, Jim, that he wasn't particularly
I don't think it was like
about
that.
a rematch? He called out Spence and Crawford despite the loss. And is there anything?
Why would he want to fight a 6'5" guy again? You know, in envisioning all the problems that could arise from fighting against a gangly 6'5", 154-pound fighter. It's an odd physical specimen, but surely the possibility.
But I don't think he's going to fight him with news that I've only just heard recently about Sabastain Fundora. But we'll continue.
Conjure was, at a given moment, he'll bring his elbow down on the top of my...
It wasn't like that, though. He didn't bring his elbow down. I can't say that he did that. He definitely led his head into... Tszyu led his head into his elbow. It was an accident.
Skull, and I'll bleed so much from that point forward that judges wind up giving him rounds.
Jim, how are you feeling? That first fight back, Canelo Charlo, that was like a welcome back. But now you're back in the swing of things. How are you feeling after?
Well, after tonight, I know I'm back because we had a bizarre event. We'll have a controversy discussion. All the things that normally are part of my ongoing life in boxing. So yeah, it's great to be back in the mix, and I look forward to running into some people who disagree with what I said.
I disagree with you. Anyway, so I just got to change screens here because there is new information about the whole Sabastain Fundora and what's going on now. Let me just change the screen here. Yep, so commission ruling will sideline Sabastain Fundora until late September, which I think it might even be longer than that. The Nevada State Athletic Commission informed new WBO and WBC junior middleweight title holder Sabastain Fundora on Tuesday that he is physically suspended from fighting until late September. So they've given him a 6-month suspension due to his nose, which got broken during the Tim Tszyu fight. Fundora 21-1 and 113 KOs suffered a broken nose during the first round. See, and that's just a slight understanding of how much Tszyu was dominating just in those first 2 rounds. He broke his nose in the first round of that fight. Like, to be able to do that quick against a 6'6" guy, I mean, that just showed that he was on top in those first 2 rounds until he got the cut on top of the head, and then things just went downhill for him. Surprise split decision, blah, blah, blah. Intermediately after Fundora's upset victory, the WBO informed his team that the fighter would be allowed until April 25 to negotiate a title fight against mandatory super challenger Terence Crawford. I don't know what's going to happen with that Terence Crawford, the whole Terence Crawford thing. Is Terence Crawford going to wait for him to be able to fight until September? The recently undisputed welterweight champion, as part of the order, Fundora would be required to defend against Crawford within 6 months of Saturday's fight with Tszyu. So the WBO did initially say that negotiations need to start, I think, within 4 or 5 days of whoever won the Tszyu and Fundora fight. So if they've already started some sort of negotiations, it doesn't matter when the fight is. It just matters that the negotiations have started. And that's it. Have they started? I don't know. But anyway, so 6-month suspension due to a broken nose, which is a fairly long time to be suspended for just a broken nose. Like, it's a broken nose. I've had my nose broken and went straight back into sparring like a week or 2 later. So I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But maybe it's a very bad break. I don't know. Maybe he's having breathing difficulties with the nose. Not sure. Anyway, that's the news that I've heard, that now he's suspended for 6 months. So what's going to happen and what's Tszyu going to do? Like, I know Tim Tszyu is going to want to stay active. So is he going to offer up Errol Spence or Terence Crawford, or I don't know what's going to happen. Like Terence, I'd like to see him against Terence Crawford. That'd be interesting. I don't know if he'll win, but it'll be a tough fight. It'll be an interesting one. Even Errol Spence. I mean, I don't think Tzew's going to wait around. I think he's going to want to get another fight. Or he might just go for one of the other belts in the division. Why not? Go for one of the other belts and then see what happens when Fundora fights, who he's going to fight. But yeah, see what happens with that. That is an interesting outcome at the moment. Anyway, that was Lampley's thoughts on the cut, which he was pretty much saying it was intentional, which I don't think it was intentional. If you've seen where his elbow was when it actually hit the head of Tszyu, he didn't bring it down, like even like he was showing and displaying, like he brought it down. He didn't. His elbow was just there beside him, and he ran into it. He ducked his head into it. So, yeah. Anyway, this is another interesting thing. So I was looking at this video on Tyson interview for Fox News. We're interviewing Mike Tyson, and he mentioned that the fight with him and Jake Paul is going to be an exhibition. There's been all this speculation on what's going to happen with the fight. Is it going to be an actual fight? Is it going to be, what are the rules going to be? They're going to wear 18-ounce gloves. They're going to wear headgear. But apparently there's going to be, I don't know what the glove sizes are going to be, but there's not going to be any headgear. But it's going to be an exhibition. So if it's an exhibition, then no one's going to win. Just going to be, yep, good job, guys.
58 years old. He's facing off against YouTuber turned boxer,
All right, let's watch it.
27-year-old Jake Paul. Now, the last time Tyson fought, that was back in 2020. That marked his first professional fight in over 15 years. Tyson recently released a pretty intimidating training video that shows you don't want to be punched by Mike Tyson. Take a look.
One more. Day 3. You still want to with me?
He's still going strong for, what is he, 56, 57 or so, I think, something like that. Even though they do cut up the footage a bit, but for his age, he's doing pretty well. And I think he's got a pretty strenuous workout regime. So, I don't know, Jake Paul's not, he's a learning boxer, and he's doing all right for someone that hasn't really spent much time in boxing, but he's definitely not an elite boxer at all. So someone who was the best at his time in the heavyweight division, even at his age now, probably is good competition for Jake Paul. But we'll see. We'll see. I think he'll expose Jake Paul. I think he'll get him, like, catch him with some shots, because the defense of Jake Paul is not that good at all. It is not that good.
All right, the fight's going to take place July 20th. It's going to be in Arlington, Texas, streamed on Netflix. Here now with more. Former heavyweight champion, the one and only Mike Tyson. Good to see you, my friend.
What's up, Sean?
See, Netflix is only... See, as soon as one person comes to the party and then someone else just watches and go, oh, that's a good idea, I might join that. So Amazon comes to the party in pay-per-view boxing with the Tim Tszyu and Sabastain Fundora fight, which was contracted at the start of the year. And then as soon as that happens, I knew it was going to happen, then the other streaming services get involved. And of course, it's going to be Netflix. And now they're like, oh, well, we're not going to go actual current active, well, Jake Paul is an active boxer, but active top boxers. We're just going to go more popularity stream and see how that goes. And that's what they're doing with Tyson and Jake Paul.
Listen, will you please promise me you're going to kick this guy's ass and shut him up, please?
Hey, I will do just that for you.
So you're going out, you're going to do it for
That'd
me.
be good to
All right.
watch.
I watched your training video.
Kicks his ass.
I know you're in super shape. You're going into this fight. You're twice as old as this guy. Is that an advantage for him? Younger, fat.
I actually think this is good for Tyson. Like, he's looking pretty fit for his age. Like, if you look at videos, probably, I don't know, 2-3 years ago at Tyson and how he was looking, he had a bit of a gut on him. He wasn't really training much, but now he's looking really fit for his age. He's looking pretty dangerous.
Faster, although you looked like you were on your A game in the video. I mean, do you feel? Yeah.
I don't think he's faster than me.
Right.
I don't think he is
How hard
either.
are you training?
I train every day.
Okay. How many hours a day
Hey,
you
I
training?
take it serious. Listen. Well, listen, it's the whole day. The process goes through the whole day. I get up in the morning, do the road work. Then I go to the gym at 1. Then I go to the strength and conditioning guy. Then it starts all over again.
Yeah. So Jake Paul is saying he wants to be a world champion. He says you're the greatest heavyweight champion ever, the baddest man on the planet, and
Jake Paul's not going to be a
the
world
most dangerous
champion.
boxer of all time. This will
I
be the
don't
fight of a
see
lifetime.
it.
You've had a chance to assess Jake Paul. What do you
I
think
mean,
of his boxing
anything's possible, but I just don't see it.
I think it's, he's came a long way from YouTubing. And listen, I seen a YouTube of him at 16 doing weird dances. That's not the guy I'm going to be fighting. This guy's going to come and going to try to hurt me, which I'm accustomed to, and he's going to be greatly mistaken.
Let's talk about, there's been a lot of rumors out there about the fight that maybe you're going to have 18-ounce gloves, you're going to be wearing headgear. Any truth to any of that?
No, not true at all. Not true. Not true. No true. Listen,
So here we go.
this is
What is
called
it?
an exhibition.
It's an exhibition.
But if you look up exhibition, you will not see any of the laws that we're fighting under. This is a fight.
You're going in, this is
So it's
a
an
real
exhibition
fight,
under
and you're going in to win
proper
this fight.
fighting rules, except no one
what
wins.
What is bringing you back? What is luring you back in? Is it kind of
May as
like
well
the
just
last
fight.
Rocky movie, and you got stuff in the basement, you need to get it out?
Sean, I have a weird personality. I don't think it's weird, though. Whatever I'm afraid to do, I do it. And that's how it is. I was afraid for the Roy fight. I was scared to fight again. I was 100 pounds overweight. I was, however old, 54, 53. And I said, let's do it. Anything I'm afraid of, I confront it. And that's my personality. Like right now, I'm scared to death. But as the fight gets closer, the less nervous I become because it's reality. And in reality, I'm invincible.
Then the beast comes out.
I think the people hearing that Mike Tyson is scared to death, it's kind of reminiscent of the last Rocky movie, right? He goes, I'm scared to death. Champ, aren't you afraid? I'm afraid of nothing. Yeah, well, okay, that dididn't work out. Did you feel that fear or that maybe it's a sense of failure
Tyson's
or potential
watched
failure
the last
all
Rocky
your career?
movie.
No, it's
Probably doesn't
it's a
even know what he's
sign of
talking about.
victory.
And that helped drive you through all of those matches, all those wins you had?
I always believe that adversity. I always believe that adversity or nervousness, it like pretty much catapulted me into success.
Yeah.
If I didn't have these feelings, I wouldn't go into this fight.
He didn't look nervous going into the fights when he was younger.
I would never go in the ring.
He was a beast.
Yeah, I hope you don't have those feelings of fear about me one day, because I don't really feel like getting in the ring with you. One of those Mike Tyson left hooks is going to, knock me right back
either,
to.
Sean.
Yeah,
I don't
okay,
wanna
man.
fight you
Thank
either.
you. Well, Jim Gray, our mutual friend, actually started our friendship, and what a great guy he is. And this is what he says about you. He says, you are the
best
nicest
ever.
guy on earth. Nicest guy, one of the nicest people he ever met. And I read something.
Anyway, so it's going to be an exhibition fight. It's not even going to be. Apparently, it's going, from what Tyson's saying, it's going to be. Everything else is the same as a proper fight, except it's going to be an exhibition. So it's going to be 10-ounce gloves. It's going to be no headgear, and they're just not going to look after each other. Just going to try and beat each other, knock each other out, whatever. It doesn't matter. And at the end of it, there's no winner. You may as well just have a fight. What is the point of having an exhibition if all the rules are just the same as a normal fight? And then what is it going to be, pay-per-view for an exhibition? That's crazy. It may as well just be a proper fight, because then at the end of it, at least at the end of a proper fight, you determine a winner. At the end of an exhibition, it's like both hands are raised and no one wins. It doesn't make sense to me.
I know, I'll talk a little bit about your business. You've gotten into the weed edible business, and you actually have, you call it Mike's Bites. It's shaped like an ear, obviously referring to Evander Holyfield in the fight you had back then. This is what you said that really interested me.
hear.
You said,
look at them, they're
that
edibles.
it makes you a different person.
Jesus.
And you want to offer this medicinal help to others looking for emotional and physical relief. This is medicinal for you, correct?
Absolutely. Not only myself, for many, many millions and millions and hundreds of million people on the planet.
Yeah.
I'll
You
try
actually
some of
said
that.
if I don't use it for a week
Some
or 3
ease.
days, you're a totally different person. And this is what you said about yourself. You're not a likable person. What happens if you don't have the medication?
I don't know. Maybe it has something
It's
to do
vicious.
with my tripolar
Tripole.
tendencies or something. But I don't think I'll be smoking for this fight.
Tripolar.
I think I'm gonna be really.
It's
really
not bipolar, it's
irritable
tripolar.
and Nasty.
I don't know if irritable
great.
and nasty might actually help you in the ring. You know, maybe a pissed off Mike. Let me ask you this. So you're launching this new line. Is this something you would you take this before the fight, for example?
Why?
Normally I do.
It's not gonna help
but
you.
At this particular fight, I think I'm gonna go pretty raw and naked.
Yeah.
I don't
all
think
of it.
weed helps you
All right, so
in
the
a
fight's
fight.
coming up.
I
you're
don't know.
training.
Maybe it does. I
Do you
wouldn't
have
think
any
it does.
dislike for Jake
It depends
Paul?
on the
Like,
person.
You want to teach him a lesson.
Yeah, teach him a lesson.
I will do just that, but dislike him? No, I don't. I do not have no grudges against him. He's beautiful, and no, it's not from that perspective. This is from my point of view of grabbing glory. Never for money, only glory.
Yeah.
I would never risk my health for money.
But you're gonna get paid a lot
Yeah.
for it, so
And
that's just
you
gonna
obviously
be
feel
a
like
big
you're in the
bonus.
best shape. I know I speak for a lot of people. They want to see Mike Tyson.
I'll be in
They
better
want to
shape
see Mike
July
Tyson
20th.
win this fight. And my guess is you're gonna this is gonna be a great night. That's for sure. Definitely.
Anyway, kick his ass, Mike. I hope he does. I think he's going to expose him. I think Jake Paul has shit defense. He's done well to get. Oh, not that he's really gotten anywhere. He's just fought old MMA fighters and a couple of boxers. But he's done alright to get to where he is. But Mike Tyson, please just expose him and just open him up with that shit defense that he has. Anyway, I'm not going to keep going with this stream because it's late where I am and I'm going to bed. I got to work tomorrow. Till next time, peace out.